Howdy, this is Travis from KnowHow here. We interviewed 400 workers in the restoration industry, and they told us more than anything else in their onboarding, they wanted more structure. So today I'm going to teach you how to build comprehensive, top quality new employee onboarding that takes them from 0 to 60 faster than anything you've done before in mere minutes. Let's get to it. So you've just hired a new mitigation manager named Pedro, and he starts on Monday morning. But your current method of training, which is job shadowing and throwing them out into the wilderness and saying, hey, ask for help if you need it, is not working. Well, that's okay, because I'm going to show you how to build super simple step-by-step onboarding on KnowHow. All right, so on desktop, what you're going to do is you're going to go to this workflows section and then click the plus icon. In this case, we'll build the workflow from scratch. We'll do it together. And so we're going to select Pedro Martinez, Mitigation Manager Onboarding. Now select date. We can choose any date we want. In this case, we said he starts on the 10th, and I want to be the workflow owner. I'm the supervisor. I want to know what his progress is like, if he's falling behind, so I'm going to make that myself. Now we're going to click Create Workflow, and the first thing we're going to do is click this Edit button. Here, we're going to look for the processes that he needs to go through in order to be adequately trained up in his role. So the first thing, he's a new employee, he's got to fill out all his tax info. Let's find that new employee onboarding that has step-by-step guide for direct deposit, everything like that. So in this case, I can see it's down here. I could also search human resources, onboarding. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and drag it in just like that. So now this has been added to his training workflow. Now, because he's a mitigation manager, I want to pull up all the relevant mitigation processes. I'm going to click this button to search by tag, and then I'm going to select mitigation and then maybe water mitigation. I've got fire and mold. I'll select those as well. Perfect. So now it's only going to show me the processes that are relevant to Pedro's role as mitigation manager. I can select these. I can go with as many or as few as I want. Let's include the final boss, category 3 mitigation. And then once we're all done, we're going to take that and just drag that in here, just like this. And you can see now it's all been populated. Perfect. So now none of these have dates. So let's assign dates to them. The very first thing, obviously, we want him to do is complete all that tax info, that first day paperwork everyone loves. So actually we'll start here. He starts on Monday. So click the 10th there. So now you can see it's been brought down Monday, October 10th here. We'll leave that like that. And now we'll start to introduce him to some of the easier things that he has to be trained in his role. So set up a dehumidifier. Let's assign that to the 11th. How to apply antimicrobial biocides. We'll do that on the 11th as well. And as you can see, everything begins to nicely fall in place here. Complete the project recheck procedure. That should be maybe on the 13th. Maybe we'll put a few of these together on the Friday, call it Equipment Fridays. And then finally, the big final boss, how to complete a category 3 mitigation, we will put down on the 21st there. Now you may have a lot more, you may have less, but you definitely know what it takes to be a good mitigation manager. And within just a few steps, we've laid out that roadmap for Pedro. So the very last step we have to do is once Pedro joins our organization, or if you've already added him to KnowHow ahead of time, you select all processes and then click Assign Process. You can search for Pedro here. In this case, Pedro's last name is Martinez, so we're going to select this, Mitigation Manager. And just like that, you can see Pedro has been assigned everything here. Perfect. You now have a crystal clear roadmap for Pedro on what day he should be doing what. Now, the last thing I want to show you before we flip into Pedro's perspective is, let's say 2 weeks later, you have another mitigation manager joining your team because you're growing rapidly. Well, we've made it super simple for you just to copy paste the same training for Pedro and use that for that new mitigation manager 2 weeks down the line. You're going to click this button, Save as Repeatable Workflow. And then we'll title this Mitigation Manager Onboarding. Tag it with onboarding. We're going to deselect Save Team Member Assignment so it doesn't automatically assign everything to Pedro. And then save as workflow. Now, when that new employee joins a week later, 2 weeks later, you can click Import a repeatable workflow, look for your Mitigation Manager onboarding. And just like that, let's say your new employee is Ron Swanson. You can spin up that same training workflow that we created for Pedro for your new employee, Ron Swanson. Confirm details and assign to him the day he joins the company in the same way we did it for Pedro. Now, speaking of Pedro, let's flip to Pedro's perspective so that Pedro can understand clearly step by step what he's supposed to be doing every day in order to get trained up in his role. In this case, you can see I'm logged in as Pedro here. And so what Pedro's going to do is he's going to go to the dashboard here and it's going to show him everything that's assigned to him. So it's Monday morning, and you can see the very first thing I have to do as Pedro is complete the new team member onboarding. How do I dive in? It's as easy as clicking that, and it's going to show me step by step everything that I need to do. So very first thing, sign my job offer. Once I've done that, I'm going to click complete, move on to the next step. Get oriented on our team values. It provides a hyperlink to any values, or you can upload a PDF. Sign our NDA, participate in our orientation meeting, complete our OSHA safety paperwork. As Pedro goes through step by step, you're going to see on this Pedro training workflow that he goes from 0% completed to 5% to 10% to 100%. So you've got total insight as to how Pedro is doing when it comes to getting trained and equipped in his role. Frantic, unstructured, crazy onboarding is a thing of the past in KnowHow. KnowHow gives your new staff step-by-step instructions on everything that they need to do to get trained and equipped and functioning at a high capacity so they can bring value to your company. For more tips and tricks on how you can become a process-driven organization, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and head to tryknowhow.com. Thanks.